And today's movie that you don't hate?
I'm not what you think I am.
Captain Marvel. All right, so we're doing Captain Marvel this time, and I know you guys are gonna say nobody hates Captain Marvel, right? Right? Yeah, I do, because the Rotten Tomatoes for scores are so low.
Well,
how low are they?
When they first started, they boosted up now. But when they first started, it was at 33%.
Yeah, it was really low. A lot of that was the haters.
Yeah, at 58,000 reviews. To the point where
a lot of haters.
To the point where Rotten Tomatoes had to shut down the reviews because of the amount of trolling that it was getting. Now, usually they they allow and they want you to have constructive criticism and all of that and judge it fairly and all that good stuff. But pretty much, like you said, trolls were just going to town on this thing, and it wasn't even really getting a chance before the movie even freaking showed up in theaters.
You know, now they're starting to they're thinking about testing out having verified purchasers, like saying like if you got to scan like your ticket to say like you saw the movie before you can actually write a movie review, which is a little bit excessive, but I get what it is. Maybe just do away with what actual personal reviews and just stick with the actual movie critics, at least for a while.
Until it gets a little bit, under control and all that. I get that. So for those of you that have never seen You Don't Hate, we're actually going to break down Captain Marvel in 5 different categories. We're going to break it down in the plot, the acting, the directing, the writing, and the special effects.
Right.
We're going to break it down, tally it up, and see and prove that you really do not hate Captain Marvel.
You don't hate this film. As a matter of fact, this is for the haters that went out and just hated the film for no particular reason. So we're going to tell you why you actually really do love this film. Plot holes and everything.
Exactly.
Why do you still love this film?
So Terrence, give us the plot of Captain Marvel.
All right, so the plot of this film is, a white woman, goes off.
You had to throw in the white girl thing.
All right, so anyway, Carol Danvers' character is a test pilot, and after a test flight crashes, she wakes up on an alien planet and is basically was saved by this race called the Kree, and is basically brought into their whole civilization and made part of their defense force. I guess that's what they would call them, the Star Force. From there, she gets captured and starts to relive some of her past that she had she lost her memory. She had no recollection of, and then she makes a journey to Earth and then kind of uncover what she's starting to kind of be revealed to her. I guess that's the best way to say it without giving out too much, but that's the setup of it. It takes elements from the comics, and then Marvel does kind of what they do is kind of tie it into how it can fit into the narrative of their whole universe. It does a lot to tie in or fill in or flesh out. That's the word I'm looking for. Flesh out some of the back history of Marvel. Of this current generation of MCU, but the way they set it up, the premise is really, really great. And I know he told me not to say it's Red Lantern, but it's Red Lantern. I'm sorry, Captain Marvel's character is the Green Lantern, just with blonde hair and in a red suit. It is a lot of that. I mean, because if you think about it, it's
well, technically she started with green.
I mean, there's a spacecraft, there's a test pilot in a plane crash, and it goes to a different planet with some aliens. They give him power, and it goes back to Earth with those new powers.
And well, it's where they're up there, they get trained to be part of this corpse.
Exactly.
Corpse.
So I mean, it's Red Lantern.
It's basically Red Lantern.
It's Red Lantern, even though the Green Lantern has a Red Lantern core, but this is the Marvel version of Green Lantern. But the premise itself was really good. I actually liked this premise.
And to a certain degree, a lot of the characters in both DC and Marvel mirror each other anyway. So it's not there's certain things in
Doom Patrol is basically Doom Patrol and X-Men are the same thing.
And their personalities, as far as DC and Marvel, they mirror each other, so it's not really that big of a deal. You are right, it is a lot like Green Lantern. When you watch the 2011 version of Green Lantern, this is pretty much what Captain Marvel is what Green Lantern back then should have been. So, but overall, like you said, the plot was pretty simple. It was an origin story without getting too much detail. In some regards, that not giving that kind of a detail kind of cripples it a little bit. Not that much, but a little bit.
I kind of like the fact that they didn't go, the way they did origin story was to say, we're already starting, and then we're going to backfill.
Right,
Okay.
and exactly. So it didn't go traditionally from beginning to end. It actually kind of puzzled up, put the pieces of the puzzle towards the end of the
Right.
movie, where it was going back through those memories and all that good stuff. So it actually kind of gives you a little bit of a curiosity towards that mystery of all of the pieces that she's putting together to know who she is and
You
how
wanna
she,
know
and
and,
where
like,
she
what the
got and how
gaps
she
are.
got that way in the first place.
Exactly.
So overall plot, I like it.
I like the plot.
All right. So Terrence, give me the scoreboard now, and give the point to like. All right, starting at 1-0.
1-0.
1-0. Now let's go with the acting. Now we have got a really solid cast.
Okay.
Oscar winners.
Yes.
Oscar nominees.
Yeah.
Oscar winner Brie Larson.
Right.
Fantastic job that she did. Now, did she Mary Sue it at times? Sure she did.
She was a super-powered alien hybrid test pilot. Of course, you gotta say that she's all-powerful.
Yes, she was.
That's like being mad that Superman's all-powerful.
Is she? But see, the problem I have with it is the whole fish out of water point. Because she was not a fish out of water, she was actually from Earth. So
That was where I lost a little bit of it. It was
but
like,
regardless,
that really wasn't her fault. That's how it was written. So
exactly. And but she portrayed it very well. I thought that she pretty much showed her range on a lot of different scenes. From her background as far as like the room and stuff that she did before.
I think her personality came out so much in this particular character.
Exactly.
Especially her interactions with I was gonna say Fury. Her interactions with Fury, it was like they had great chemistry on set, even though some of the like accepting her was too much for me. And it was like, you just talked about like why you should believe her, and then you just automatically believe her.
We'll get back. We'll
get to that. But like her interactions with Samuel L. Jackson were really good. And I thought her interpretation of Captain Marvel was her being her.
Right. Mm-hmm. What her character from 21 Jump Street would have been.
There you go.
Anyway, no, Samuel L. Jackson, boom, another Oscar nominee,
Yeah.
and hand in glove. But this is a different side of Fury because none of this other stuff has happened. He has not really hardened that shell the way he is in Avengers and the rest of the MCU films.
Right.
In this one, he is a little bit more of a desk jockey.
Yes.
I read a review that's what he thought of him that way.
Yeah.
And so he was still kind of, I don't want to say he was green, but he just had that...
He wasn't grizzled like he was in the Avengers.
He still has a thin layer of skin, in my opinion. He doesn't have as thick skin as he did in later films. So, boom, another Oscar nominee, Jude Law.
Right.
Great performance there. Minimum. He was a good villain, though. I mean, he was a solid villain. You didn't know you didn't know what, does he really care for this girl? Is he really her enemy? You already know who he's working for and all that, sure. But you just never know if there's an inner conflict there between, him, how he feels about Carol Danvers and
right.
the mission.
Right. When you get to those first three, I was like, I didn't expect to have any problems with the way they act on screen. So when I saw it, it was like, it was just, par for the course. They were going to do a good job with what they were given.
Mm-hmm. Annette Bening didn't really have anything to do, but hey, Oscar nominee again. Didn't have much to do, but she was.
Need to see
but
her.
she was an important part because she was the original.
I think it would have been better if she'd have just been a voiceover.
Well, you look at the veterans, the old vets. You got Robert Redford in Winter Soldier. You got Nicole Kidman in Aquaman. So now you got to have another one, a legend, another Hollywood legend come out. So I guess that was the purpose.
I was still taken aback by Nicole Kidman and was like, oh wait, you're casting.
I understand why they cast her, and she's a great actress. So I didn't have a problem. She didn't have much to do, but for what she did, she made the most of it. Jaimin Hansu comes back from another Oscar nominee, comes back to reprise his role from Guardians.
Yeah.
All of this takes place before
I never
Guardians.
knew his real name. When you said it puzzled me, and I was like, oh yeah.
Blood Diamond.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway.
I just didn't know his real name.
Now, the standout for me was Ben Mendelsohn. And he's the one that plays Krennic on Rogue One.
Yeah.
He really is good at just playing a villain, period. In Ready Player One, Rogue One. Captain Marvel 1.
What made it stand out? The fact that how he approached it?
How he was able to basically be himself when he was Fury's boss, and then be Talos.
Right.
when I read some of the fun facts, which I'll get into fun facts later, but what I read of the fun fact was how he used his natural Australian accent to play Talos, and then the American accent to play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
there was some certain little subtleties that he did there, but he's great in everything that he does.
I never
really
had a
liked
problem
it.
with any of the acting in this film. It's like the.
Me either.
We can talk about the characters later.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah. Anyway, so you got Lee Pace, who pretty much fits Ronan. He played Ronan beautifully in Guardians. He pretty much plays a younger version of him.
Did you walk away from that like wondering if it was recast?
Well,
Because he didn't have the blackness.
He didn't have the blackness.
I was like,
yes.
why does his face look weird?
Yeah, he looks like really young. In
Yeah.
It. So I get it. Didn't give me the same effect that I got seeing Darth Maul in Solo, but it was, still good.
No,
to see
I mean
him.
they needed to give me the black marks because I literally sat there for about like a good all the time on screen. I was like, why does his face look weird?
And it did. You're right. It did. It just didn't have that.
Yeah.
So overall, I love the acting in the movie.
Okay.
I thought it was pretty good.
I'm good with the acting too. I thought they cast well. I didn't walk away saying like I would have preferred somebody else to play this role except for Emily Blunt, maybe. But
You would have rather had Emily Blunt to Captain Marvel?
I was on board for Emily. Like when she was in the running, and then she got pregnant, and had to give up, had to come out of the running because she got pregnant. She was in the running for Captain Marvel to begin with.
I don't know. I like it.
You like it because you've seen Brie Larson, but you haven't seen Emily Blunt in there, and I really was like on board. I was like, give me Emily Blunt. I wish they work her in the MCU as something going forward, but that would have been the only thing I'd have been like, I kind of want to see what she had done.
All right, I'm curious now. That's
Just like my Sacha Baron Cohen playing Freddie Mercury.
Oh my
I
God.
kind of wanted Emily Blunt to be Brie Larson, to be Captain Marvel, but not to say that she did a bad job. She did a really good job.
She did a really good job.
I accept it as it is now.
Exactly. And how about throw a shout out to Goose, the cat?
The goose, the cat.
Great acting chops there.
Acting from the CGI.
Either way, acting.
Acting's a lie.
Give me a like. All right, 2-0, starting out pretty good. And here's where we go south. Directing. All right, so this movie was directed by Ryan Fleck and Anna Boden. I think her name is. I hope I pronounced that right. Now, before this movie, they actually directed a lot of independent films. They had a couple of films in Sundance, so they did this kind of work. They were actually originally slated to direct the original Guardians of the Galaxy, but that went to James Gunn, as you know. I would probably say that this is their biggest movie, obviously, that they would have with this type of budget, with this type of established lore, not just in comics, but with the MCU. I think that's a pretty good project. That's a pretty big project for independent filmmakers.
That is great for them. Just kind of like when Ron Howard was like, "Hey, it was my biggest box office ever," when he did Solo and it didn't quite pan out the way he wanted it to pan out. Yeah, but I mean, for them, this is the best thing. No matter how it's going to pan out, it was going to be the biggest thing that they ever did.
Exactly, and you're right. But unfortunately, I think that their inexperience kind of didn't deliver what we could have had.
There was
It was better than Green Lantern,
right.
but there was a lot of things that they missed. No, but let's talk about some of the things that they did well.
Okay.
Revisiting the nostalgia from the 90s was fantastic.
Yes, even though they touched on some things that we knew about and we sat out there and pointed all the things that got wrong with it, but that's fine.
Yeah. Shout out for the Blockbuster cameo,
Yeah.
baby. You know,
There you
that's a SRO place, so gotta throw a shout out to Blockbuster.
I thought they kind of hit and I know we're talking about good things. It was great to be reminded of that particular era and where you're in it, but I think they hit it too much. Like something, you had to keep playing music from the 90s. You had to keep making 90s references.
Yes.
And I was like, it's a little bit too much, guys.
I did enjoy hearing Nirvana "Come As You Are."
Yeah. Now, if that had just been one scene where they did that one song, I'd have been fine with it, but they just kept going and going.
Exactly, and it was a little too much. The fight choreography could have been a little bit better as well. There were some scenes that were kind of suspect. Towards the end, though, I did like a lot of that fight sequences. There were some fight sequences in the middle and at the end that I did not like. So they could have, probably done some work on that. Now, that was some of the bad things and some of the good things a little bit. There is something that I did want to, that a guy named Matt brought out there. And he was talking about the details regarding Carol Danvers' relationship with her friend, Maria Rambo, or whatever her name was.
Right.
That was her name, right? Rambo?
Yeah.
Mr. Rambo. Okay. But a little bit more details than that. Not necessarily in flashbacks of them singing karaoke and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. But talking about where they're actually showing them and their camaraderie in the air,
Right.
in the planes, and all of that.
Right.
What do you think about that?
So is he saying that was a bad thing?
That was not enough given to establish their relationship. Why should I care about your relationship?
I think they were.
see that.
I think they were time crunched. They had too much to show. I'm surprised.
Would you have liked to see those details though? A little bit more.
I would have not been. Okay, so in the comics, she dies in a plane accident, and then her daughter actually takes up the Captain Marvel mantle before even Carol Danvers does, because Carol Danvers at the time is still Miss Marvel at the time, and then she goes on to become like I forget her actual name. So she was like Captain Marvel for like a brief minute, and then she changed her name to something like Fusion, or I'll put it down here. I can't remember the name.
This is in the comics.
In the comics.
Okay.
So I actually thought these flashbacks were going to be like a setup to kill her. So the fact that they kept her through the whole movie, I was sitting there like confused. I was like, they're not going to kill her? Because literally, she died in the plane. She died in the test pilot. As a test pilot.
Okay.
So it was really shocking, and then she wasn't a test pilot anymore. So it was like, so they're just not gonna do that altogether. So it was fine if they were going to, if they weren't going to stress or involve her more into the later part of the movie. So if they were like, okay, all we're gonna do is show you the flashbacks of this time that you had with this particular friend of yours, then yeah, I want to see more of that pre-stuff. But because they gave us so much more, they gave her character so much time at the end, it didn't make any sense to keep doing that.
Okay.
All they do is establish that they had a relationship. They're going to continue on with their relationship towards the end. Okay. Even though her character was a little bit different towards the end. But.
So we're thinking right now, bad was the 90s overkill.
The 90s overkill.
Especially with the music, but it's kind of divided there because we do appreciate the nostalgia. We do like the nostalgia, but in some regards, it was a little overkill on some things, especially the music. Right?
The fish out of water thing, because they started it and then quickly dumped it.
Yes, they did.
Quickly dumped the fish out of water thing.
Yes, they did.
I wanted Starman. If you're gonna call her fish out of water, I wanted her to show up like, what the hell's going on? What is this? What is that? I mean, you can overkill that too, but it was kind of like, I don't know what's going on. Let me quickly adapt to this planet that I've never ever been on.
and try to figure out these flashbacks I'm getting.
Yeah.
Try to figure this out. I've been here before.
I'm making jokes.
Yeah.
I'm stealing people's I'm pulling like
Well,
Terminator references. And I was like, what are y'all doing? Just say that she's not a fish out of water. Just like she knows what she's doing and she remembers being on Earth. I would have took that better than to call her a fish out of water.
And we'll get into that with writing. One of the things that I did like about how they directed this was they highlighted the woman's strength. Different eras, showing the setups of when you fall and getting up after you fall.
Okay.
I think that whole thing was awesome. I love that.
She's a very determined person and character.
Okay. But and the symbolism that all of that pretty much highlights.
I got it. That montage, I kind of felt like, okay, I got it, guys. Y'all gonna keep doing it. I get it.
When you take those baby steps and you see them where she falls and she falls and yes, she does get up, but then there's never anything that furthers her character as far as them saying or her saying, I'm gonna get up now, I'm gonna do what I said I was gonna do, I don't care, I'm determined. So it kind of does not give you the details, the different details in those eras to where it shows her determination to be even better, that you can't knock me down, or when you knock me down, I'm going to get up. I wish we would have seen a little bit more of that, but I appreciate the symbolism in it.
I was more lost because she was already all powerful. Why did that even matter at that point?
She was not powerful when she was a little kid.
No.
But that's what we're talking. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm talking about
building her character, why she became a pilot, blah blah. But at the time that she's having these flashbacks, when she's making her final push and all that stuff and realizing her full strength, she was already all powerful.
She doesn't know how to use it.
She was already all powerful. All that stuff before, you could have not even had that stuff if somebody gives you all these powers.
Okay, we'll get into that in a minute.
That was pointless at that point. I got what they were trying to say, but it wasn't like that was her strength. It was, you just got from the Tesseract all these powers, super strength, the binary, going full binary, being able to do the blast, the photon blast. You could fly. You were all powerful. You could have been a geek and a nerd and somebody give you all those powers. Yeah, you're going to want to stand up for yourself.
I'm going to give it a hate.
I'm going to give it a hate. I think, and I don't know if Marvel was trying to push an agenda with this particular character, what they were fully trying to say, but I think it got muddled up in some of the story of the film where they were trying to say one thing, but the character was doing another thing, and I got lost with that, and then and we're gonna talk about, like I said, the fish out of water thing really kind of bugged me.
We'll get into it right now. So,
Hate.
All right, hate. 2-1.
2-1.
And it's going to get tied up. Writing! So this was actually written by the directors, Anna Boden, Ryan Fleck, Geneva Robertson Duoret. I hope I said that right.
Probably not.
They all contributed to the script. Many others contributed to the actual story of the film. How they wrote it in some parts were disappointing.
To be honest, it felt like Iron Man 3 to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Really?
It felt like Iron Man 3.
I didn't get that vibe. Iron Man 2 maybe. I didn't get that Iron Man 3 on
It felt like Iron Man 3 to me, where like,
as far as the writing,
the way they wrote the villain, the way they wrote
no, there is no comparison to that twist with the Mandarin. There is no. If you're gonna look at a twist from the Mandarin compared to the Talos twist, you tell me which one I would rather have.
What would have been better, and not that I'm going to rewrite this film, but I mean, it wasn't a complete like, oh my God, I didn't see that coming. It was kind of like, oh, okay. Kind of makes sense now why he's in every damn scene now and she's barely ever fighting him.
True.
She fought one scroll? She
fought the old lady.
Yeah, it was like she fought one scroll for real, and that's really it. I mean, she ran from him, but she never really fought him, and it was like he never really came off to me as a villain.
Okay.
He never came. The only person that was like it was Jude Law's character, Yan. I always forgot how to say his damn name. Yanrog. There you go. Was his character. Was already like he was shady from the beginning.
Give me Mark Strong.
So when they ultimately said that, you know, oh hey, here's the twist, he's the villain, and you know they just been outright murder. We'll talk about that in a second. Murdering the Skrulls in the name of the Kree, and he's truly the villain, and they're actually just, you know, a race that's being hunted. I was like, oh okay, that's a thing, and I wasn't shocked by it. It was just like, you never really sold me on him being a villain in the beginning. Even when she was captured, he just looked like he was a dude doing a job. He never really seemed like a villain. He was looking for something, he wanted information, and that was really it. Now that we're on the scroll thing, since we're talking about the writing, her character flips so quickly. Hey, I've been with the Kree for years. I've been murdering you guys with no problem. Never once asked a question. One scroll tells me one damn story, and I get one little creepy flashback. And I'm like, oh, no, this is not what I've been murdering you guys forever.
And that goes to where I had issues with it, the trust. Girl, you trust people too damn easily.
He could have been lying.
He changes freaking forms. Okay, but besides that, on her part, Fury's part.
Why do you trust her?
Why do you trust her?
He literally says that, and I'm supposed to believe that? No, you're not.
Exactly. Especially if you're in this high power, whatever, you know, this big thing, this top secret Men in Black type of freaking organization, and you know you're supposed to be on the lookout for these kind of things. You just see this chick blast some dude with her hands, and all of a sudden, she's cool. She's okay. I had a problem with that.
Okay.
The having the jokes at the bar and all that stuff, and
I know Marvel does. They like the levity in the film, so I can see them doing it.
I got that part, but I'm talking about as a character, as Nick Fury's character.
You wanted, hey, look, you know what? The same thing happened with Han Solo. Everybody wanted him to be the smuggler and shady guy, something like that, and then to see a happy Han Solo, people had problems with. So you get a happy Nick Fury. You get a happy Nick Fury, and then people have problems. I didn't have problems with him being like a little bit more pleasant because I was expecting the incident to come up to turn him gritty.
I got that part. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But I'm talking about as far as him trusting her too easily, him pretty much walking in with no any kind of reservation or any kind of hesitancy. He's just like, oh, we've been buddies for years.
Yeah.
You know, they're partners now. And
it quickly turned into a buddy cop.
Yes, like that. And that maybe I believed Zeus and John McClane was more believable. Was more realistic.
You know why? Because they didn't trust each other for a while in that movie.
That's my point. And you're talking about somebody.
He didn't trust her for 5 minutes.
Exactly.
And he was like, no, you're good.
And I'm talking about.
He risked his job for some alien chick he doesn't even know.
And you said it perfectly. An alien! That is not, according to what he's just seen, doesn't know that the past has not been uncovered yet. That's from another world.
Totally trust her.
And you can't trust John McClane, but you can trust. So, issue with that. Continuity. Another issue I have with it as far as the continuity. So, first of all, when Phil Coulson in the original Avengers, I think it's that or Iron Man, whatever, he actually breaks down the whole SHIELD acronym.
Yeah, and then like they had
strategic homeland.
They hadn't come up with an acronym for it yet.
Right. And now
and they're already it's on the hats already.
Exactly.
It's already on hats.
So I had a really it's really subtle. It's really stupid.
That's a nitpicky part, by the way.
But it bothered the hell out of me because this is supposed to take place. This is originally the start of the MCU because it's in the 90s. Mm-hmm. So yeah. You would have already had it. You would already been calling it SHIELD, unless Coulson is that much of a tightwad that he refuses to call it SHIELD, but he would have already admitted it. So I don't know. I did not like that part.
I mean, I guess we can nitpick later. There was another thing that I didn't like. But
go ahead, say it.
No. We'll move on because we can keep going through the topic. I'll nitpick later.
Okay. You sure?
I mean, the other thing. No, I'll nitpick later.
All right, cool. So. Writing, that's a hate.
And
it's tied up.
All right.
Let's break this tie. Special effects on this movie, like any other Marvel movie, are fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely great. Taking it to and remaining in the cosmic world, like Guardians, and I would even argue Doctor Strange. Having it continue on that side of the MCU, I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought that the battles were superb.
Yeah.
The freaking ending battle with her and how she freaking looks right at Ronan when she's outside of his ship was awesome. That whole scene was amazing. You got a little bit of a nod to Raiders of the Lost Ark where he's like doing the come at me and fight.
Oh yeah.
She just shoots him.
Yeah,
that was hilarious.
Did. Yeah, they absolutely did that.
But yeah, the special effects were great. Goose the cat, I know he's an alien too, but with the tentacles and all that whole scene was, very believable.
I mean,
very
you
believable.
believed he was an alien cat. You believed they were shape-shifting aliens. The only problem I had with it is that they were doing a lot of storytelling and world building that it suffered some of what Fantastic Four suffered. Is that there was a lot of space between action scenes.
Okay.
Outside of some little, like when they were running away from in a little bit of shooting. I mean, that's really it. But I wasn't here to watch gunfights. I was here to watch, this all-powerful person really basically have a space battle, because that trailer was mostly like space battle versus the Skrulls. I saw early thing versus the Skrull, and then I saw an end of a space battle, and everything in between was buddy cop.
Well, true, but you have to admit that once she pretty much realizes who she is and what she is, what her capabilities are, from that point forward, it was bad. She was bad.
No, I mean that was fine. I mean, the last ending fight was great. Was absolutely great. I still don't agree that Jan Rock lived. I don't understand when did the MCU start letting villains live. I think the last one it was
Infinity War. Infinity War,
because they lost, and maybe Civil War because Black Panther let him live.
Well, Animal Logic was behind some of these effects. So you got the space scenes, the whole thing, like I said, with Goose. You also have the Lola effects that was responsible for de-aging Samuel L. Jackson.
Those dudes need an Oscar.
Let's talk about this right now. When they were looking at de-aging Samuel L. Jackson, they were actually looking at previous films to get an idea of what they wanted his character to look like. No. The options were Pulp Fiction, which they could not do because of the wig. And his facial hair.
Yeah.
Jules is just a completely different, right?
So what did they use?
They had
in?
Hold on.
Right.
They had Jurassic World, but he was really old. He was made to look old in Jurassic. In Jurassic Park. I'm sorry.
He's like in a dark control room most of that movie.
So, so that was an option that they scrapped. Loaded Weapon 1 was the parody of Lethal Weapon back in the day. Do you remember that with Emilio Estevez?
I didn't remember he was in that movie.
He was in that movie. So they kind of took from that. That started the ground, hit the ground running with that one because the look that they wanted for Fury in this one, it was close to what they wanted. Okay. Then came Zeus from Die Hard with a Vengeance. That was pretty much very close to being what Fury was going to be like. But
it's getting some more hair.
Guess what they decided to go with?
Coming to America?
No, they decided to go with not really an independent, but a low budget movie
Society
that he did called 187.
Really?
The look that the character look of 187, his character in 187 is the look that they decided to go with.
I gotta rewatch that.
When they decided to create this early version of Nick Fury. So that was pretty interesting.
That was pretty interesting.
But like you said, the effects as far as the aging.
They need to win an award.
It was amazing.
Well, they needed to win an award for the Ant-Man 2 with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michael Douglas, too.
Michelle Pfeiffer, dude. They needed an award for that one. But the Samuel L. Jackson, if they don't win an award for special effects just for the aging, it's a travesty. They robbed.
they
robbed. It's like not once, and he was in full light. He was in motion. He was in action scenes. They didn't do a bunch of we're gonna hide him in the dark. We're gonna hide him with hats and stuff like that. No,
broad daylight.
Completely, and I never once was like, oh, I see the CGI. I was like, literally, oh, that's just young Samuel Jackson on screen. I was like, I just totally believed it, and I walked away and I was like, man, they should just all these old actors that can't do action films anymore or something like that because they look so old. Nah, run them back out there, de-age them all, put them back out there. We're gonna see Bruce Willis back in the day when he used to have the hair. A little bit of hair, and he's
we're gonna have moonlighting.
Yeah, we're gonna have moonlighting.
Bruce Willis.
Oh my God, we're gonna have young Indiana Jones back. We're gonna have everybody back. Everybody.
The job that they've done on Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, Robert Downey Jr., Samuel L., and
they were in brief moments.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell was a good one too. Though on the Earth when he was in a car. It looked a little weird sometimes when he was singing.
Did it look Jeff Bridges type in Tron? Okay, not that bad.
Not that bad. I was gonna say Jeff Bridges from Starman, but his face looked a little soft at some points. This was their hey, look, we own this. We own de-aging.
Yeah, amazing job that they did.
Yeah, so I love the CGI.
I'm gonna go.
Special effects were good. Yeah.
All right, that's a like. Got a 3-2.
3-2.
3-2. We did it.
Yeah, you don't hate this film. This is actually a really good film. It's not the best MCU film, but it is a really good film.
Neither is Black Panther.
Stop trying to make me say that out loud. It is not the best MCU film, but it does serve its purpose for establishing a character that is important to the MCU, and at least being able to bring it into people who did bring it to the masses who weren't aware of this character. Like just the same way they did with Guardians. Guardians was a better movie. But this one is still an enjoyable film for what it was. It did a lot of things right. It did some things wrong, but it did a lot of things right.
And one of the things that it did right was create one of the best post-credit scenes. And it was very subtle, wasn't nothing much, but it got you so pumped for Endgame.
Yeah, I'm glad that they just owned up to it. They were like, we're not going to hint at it. We're just like, they just outright owned up to it.
And I would have loved to see her with the mohawk, in all honesty, because years have passed. I would have loved to see that version.
Well, they gave us the mohawk quite a bit.
But I just would have liked to see it with the short hair. I would have liked to see her with short hair.
She probably wouldn't shave her head now.
Probably
not. This is the way that they did.
But regardless, she had a different look about her, and just her presence around the existing Avengers to set up Endgame was, man, I was pumped. I'm pumped right now just to go see it partially because of that. Okay. So fantastic post-credit scene. The last post-credit scene wasn't that bad, but I mean, it wasn't but that one was
so that brings up my gripes.
Well, not yet.
Okay.
You know what? Go your gripes.
Yeah,
you want to do your gripes?
My gripes was...
Because what is this going to relate to, though? Is it going to relate part of the directing?
To just my gripes.
Just your gripes, okay.
My gripes.
Your rant.
My gripes is they hoodwinked me. They bamboozled me. that Nick Fury thing is this is why I say a lot of Iron Man 3, because the villain was underserved, not even underserved. It just wasn't big enough for this particular film, for this particular character. And that twist on his eye thing and his change in personality sucked. It was funny, but it sucked. How is he gonna flip personalities? It's like he has no turning point in his whole life now. They really should have done where like he got attacked by Coulson in the car, or the other shield. Was it Coulson or was it some random shield agent?
It was his boss.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Or nah, it was because he actually killed him.
Oh, that was a shield agent.
Yeah, it was another shield agent. I would thought that was gonna be the moment, especially since he hit his eye, and I was like, oh, he's actually gonna lose his. No, he didn't. Oh, the cat took out the eye with some random ass scratch. Come on, man. And I know it's an alien cat, and I'm sure the cat, but I was like, and then you just walk away from it. So the thing that, last time I trust somebody, I lost an eye.
And wait a minute.
Cat.
Wait a minute. But at the same time, you know, first of all, he lost the eye as far as sight, but he didn't lose the eye. He still had his eye. When he
just
has shown it in another.
I'm repeating the line. I didn't write the line. I'm repeating the line. Oh man, made me forget all the other stuff that I was.
So that's with writing.
Yeah, that was with the writing. God, I forgot all the other crap that I was gonna complain about because I get so caught up in that stupid eye thing.
But that falls in line with continuity, though.
So the up and down with her powers. I wasn't. I talked a little bit about her murdering murdering Skrulls, and now having a change of heart, and then totally revolting on the race that took care of her this long. But also too
which was all
her powers. A lie that, you know, hey, we took care of you, fed you, trained you,
made you use you later, to use you, and to keep you under control because we know how powerful you are, to suppress your memories, so you do not become a threat to us.
So your parents say they teach you, they give you rules, they limit you from the things that you want to do because you have the ability to do all these things that may cause a particular, you know, harm to yourself and to other people. They limit you to make sure that you become a better person later on in life. They're at fault? No.
Touché, sir.
You believed in what they told you from the beginning. You can't be flipping that quickly. But also too, her powers. Like, she went from being strong to being weak to being strong. Not when they released her, but just overall throughout the movie. And it's like, I could bust through this, but some people are gonna hold me back.
You mean like Aquaman? He can lift a submarine, but then he gets chained up and he can't get out.
Yeah.
Just checking.
Yeah, just saying.
All right, well, let's go with some fun facts after the raining cloud over here. The budget for this movie was $150 to $75 million. Right now, it is on pace to be another $1 billion grossing film.
It barely profitable this
for MCU. Profitable. So currently, right now, is about $996, something like that. But that should hit pretty soon. One of the things that I loved about this movie, besides that post-credit scene, was the tribute to Stan Lee in the beginning with the Marvel, with the introduction to the Marvel logo. Cool. And it was all Stan Lee, and I thought that was a great touch, a great showing of class from Disney, from Marvel, to do that for Stan Lee, who we lost early this year.
Is this going to be his last cameo?
No, Avengers Endgame is.
Okay.
Okay. In the comics, Goose is named Chewie after Chewbacca.
Right.
They changed it for Top Gun,
which was weird because they totally had the ability to go with Chewie.
Yeah, because they own Disney. I mean, Disney.
Yeah,
owns Star Wars anyway.
They totally had the ability to do it.
Robert Downey Jr. counseled Jude Law in how to work with Marvel since they both worked on Sherlock Holmes.
You need to ask about $50 million, man, because obviously the Marvel will pay it.
Oh, man. Black Widow was almost the first female solo film for the studio.
That's why I walked away with it, that should have been the first film.
But they decided to go with an not original, but a new character that had not been introduced yet, which is why they went with Captain Marvel.
Black Widow's story.
Makes sense, though.
Black Widow's story is more interesting to me than Captain Marvel.
Yeah, it's called Red Sparrow.
Yeah.
All right. The Captain Marvel, had they gone this route, then you might have gotten your wish, because Captain Marvel was originally going to be in Ultron, Age of Ultron.
Okay.
But they decided to go
that made them too powerful.
The original story for the film actually changed because when they were looking at it, it was a lot like Green Lantern.
Like the character is
even more so than what you see now.
In the way that they interpreted her now, it's more Green Lantern. Nova is more Green Lantern for the MCU than Captain Marvel is, but in the way that they interpret the character, it's the aspects at the beginning of her life are mimic Hal Jordan.
And when they were originally writing the story, the concept was trying to stay away from Superman with boobs, basically. So that's pretty interesting.
I mean, it's close. It's still close to that, Superman with boobs.
Oh man. Either way,
needed a red cape.
Either way, you really don't hate this
Nah,
movie,
you
and since the Rotten Tomatoes has allowed the reviews and all that,
Right.
it has boosted it up. It is currently sitting at 78% Rotten Tomatoes,
Which is great.
So
After all the
certified
trolls,
fresh,
it is
so not
still
bad.
there.
Yeah, absolutely. So despite all of the gripes and despite all of the holes, like Terrence said, it's not a perfect movie, and it's not the best MCU film, but it is pretty good movie. So you really don't hate this movie.
Accept it for what it is and just move on with the character, is what I say.
And we'll see her again in Endgame.
And we're going to sit here in Endgame. And like I said, that post-credit scene was like, I love that they owned it. So just like, hey, she's coming.
And currently, right now, Brie Larson signed a really big deal with Marvel to appear in 7 more times. So if, in fact, Robert Downey Jr. is out of it, you're going to pretty much see Brie Larson in that role of appearing in different Marvel films. So that's going to be pretty interesting.
Cap's dying anyway, so.
All right. Terrence, take us home.
We got a new Cap, if you're not aware. It's like, this is our new Cap. Anyway, deal with it. But anyway, we don't do You Don't Hate that often. Partly because we like to have some suggestions. Tell us some movies that you guys like, guilty pleasure movies, cult hits, stuff that people just don't give the credit that it truly deserves. We want to be out there, because trust me, we like those films too. We want to be able to help you defend them, so that way you can say, hey, look, these guys are talking about the things that I've always pointed out to you, but now since they're on YouTube, you should listen. And donate to our Patreon.
And hit that subscribe button.
And hit that subscribe and notification button, so that way you can be aware when we randomly post the YouTube You Don't Hate films. But Patreon, go to that one. Patreon.com/thegoods. Get you a shirt like this.
All right, for Aspen and Art, where the hell they're at, I'm Manny.
I'm Taryn.
And we'll see you next time.
Oh, that's so watered down.
3, 2, 1.
It's all water with a splash of alcohol in it.
That's you, dumbass.
Oh.
And today's movie you don't hate.
Oh! All right. 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1, go.
And today's movie that you don't hate